Why do we call it loud laughter?
Because we use weird terms in our church for everything.
And
all the
who
time.
wants to hear a dirty joke?
We got Paul, Elijah, and Jesus, who are all guilty of loud laughter there. Look, if you want to listen to Time Out for Women or a Deseret Book podcast, go listen to that. This is not that. Like, I'm sorry.
Wait a second. What?
I don't know how members of the church in Utah can claim to be conservative, but act like the most triggered little Berkeley liberals ever because someone is behaving in a way that's slightly different than you that you're not culturally used to. Get over it and stop being a wimp. If you're like, they're making jokes in California, but they're more... Shut up.
Also, ironically, I feel like people who are doing that kind of thing are engaging in the very thing that the scriptures are trying to get them to not do in the verses where it's talking about avoiding loud laughter.
What do I tell all these really uptight people in the comments? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Midnight Mormons. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, and today I'm joined in the studio by Kwaku L, Brad Whitbeck, and Brittany the Shadow. And on this show, we debunk a lot of anti-Mormon lies, but we also debunk a lot of Mormon cultural fibs, shall we say. And lately, the Karens have come out in the comment section, and we've been getting all kinds of, DMs and instant messages and so on and so forth. 90% of it is great, but there's always those people that try and do the tisk and the finger wagging, saying this or that about loud laughter. So we're actually going to be covering this topic today and debunking the claims. Like, what does loud laughter mean? Why are we admonished not to engage in loud laughter and so on and so forth? What does it actually mean? And are we guilty as charged, or are we as innocent as little cherubs?
Can I start off by saying, look, if you want to listen to Time Out for Women or a Deseret Book podcast, go listen to that. This is not that. Like, I'm sorry.
Wait a second. What?
I don't know how members of the church in Utah can claim to be conservative, but act like the most triggered little Berkeley liberals ever because someone is behaving in a way that's slightly different than you that you're not culturally used to. Get over it and stop being a wimp. If you're like, they're making jokes in California, but they're more... Shut up.
Also, ironically, I feel like people who are doing that kind of thing are engaging in the very thing that the scriptures are trying to get them to not do in the verses where it's talking about avoiding loud laughter.
Well, and this has actually become such a thing that the church now has an article on it. And you sent this to me, Brad, and I was intrigued for two reasons. First off, I'm intrigued that it's actually on their radar and becoming a conversation topic big enough that they're writing an article on it. And two, this little fuzzball is the freakiest looking little icon.
Like, who chose that?
I've ever seen.
What the freak is that thing? Like this weird minion looking, like,
I think it's to show
part Fraggle.
That's loud laughter personified, like a weird...
Maybe it's like a Marcel the Shell thing.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about Marcel the Shell.
Well, that movie just came out, the Marcel the Shell movie.
Oh,
What?
Shut up, really?
I don't even know
Yeah.
what this is.
Oh, you know who Marcel the Shell is?
That rings a weird bell in the back of my mind. but-
Guys.
Sorry, I
Is it
brought
for little
up.
kids? Because I don't have kids.
No.
No.
Are you sure? No.
Oh.
I'm sure. I've impregnated 0 women.
It's just like, do you remember that? Do you remember the podcast and the program we did when Bill Reel was trying to look at your underwear? Or demanding to see your underwear, and
Yeah.
then the one guy with the bad Aries goatee was saying he was sure that you were gay,
Yeah.
and that you've given like
Yeah, that
I
was
won't even
weird.
say what the word is, but its initials are B and J's to different people. You're like, I'm pretty sure that I've given like a 0. You know what I'm saying? You're like, I'm pretty sure that I got 0 women on that.
This is my impression
So-
of Bill Reel, by the way.
What?
This is my impression of Bill Reel and a Mormon guy's underwear.
No.
Oh my
Jeez.
God.
Only if it's yours. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Bill Reel.
So, okay, so-
Creepy Bill.
So this says, fortunately, it tells us that this is a 1-minute read. Take it away, Brad. Or do you want to just summarize this? Like, what is
Well-
loud laughter, and are we guilty of it, my friend?
So, I mean, the article that we're looking at right now is pretty much summarized in the opening sentence. The decibel level isn't the issue. Like it says, church leaders sometimes warn against loud laughter. Do they mean that literally? Is it wrong to laugh loudly? What if something is really funny? And then there are times that we should be quiet and reverent, of course, but that's not usually the volume of one's laughter that's the problem. In this context, loud means something like inappropriate or disrespectful. Loud laughter is laughter that's rude, mocking, or inconsiderate.
Okay, but hold on there. Hold on there, man. Like, good scripture is used for censure and correcting bad behavior and so on and so forth, but it's much better to make fun of a bad situation, okay, and mock that situation, or say what some might call humor, others might call inconsiderate. There is a gray area there. Who's the arbiter of whether or not something's inappropriate or disrespectful? Because all the time there's the Karen in the room, and I shouldn't say this because my Aunt Karen gets really angry, but you know what I'm saying? But so we have to change the name. There's a Judy in the room. No, I'm just kidding. But who's the arbiter of whether or not something is appropriate or disrespectful?
So,
and is not disrespect kind of inherent to comedy?
So, no, I think you're totally right. Here's the thing that I think I've come to as a comedian myself, trying to come to grips with this sort of thing. First off, the gossip itself is often in the same parts of scriptures that talk about avoiding laughter. It is avoiding talking about people. So when you're talking about who's the arbiter, if you're saying, well, is that person laughing for the wrong reasons? You're probably doing the wrong thing, right?
Okay.
This is something where I think it is between you and God. You need to figure it out for yourself. And you use this as a way to understand, okay, am I using this? Am I laughing at what is happening here because I hate this person and I want them to be destroyed? Okay. Or do I actually see them as a fellow child of God, right? Because you can laugh at people in a way that is fun. We laugh at each other a lot on this show in a way that is constructive and good. But there's, I think, kinds of laughter that can be this laughter that's talking about being inconsiderate. What are the words? Let me see.
Ridiculing someone.
Well, it
Yeah.
says,
Probably not a good
I like
idea.
where it says being light-minded means failing to take seriously things that should be taken seriously, including our church duties and temple covenants. Loud laughter is not referring to a specific volume, but rather an inappropriate laughter at any volume, avoiding both light-mindedness and loud laughter is a rule. And the last sentence is the kicker for me. Says, Elder Richard G. Scott said, and this guy's a sleeper. People sleep on him as being boring, which he oftentimes is. But every once in a while he comes out with a solid one-liner. You know what I'm saying? And they're good. They're good. It makes up for it. And he says, a good sense of humor helps revelation. Loud laughter does not. So as a comedian, all of us know inherently when we're going from the realm of good comedy that is at something or somebody's expense, but reveals a hidden truth we all need to recognize to augment society, or exposes an evil in a way that we can laugh at in order to correct it and expose it, without, that we couldn't in other situations. All of us know where that is. And you kind of only know where that is if you're a comedian. Then there's also where you've gone from that area to just being kind of a cruel jerk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And laughing at people's misfortune because you're happy that they're hurt.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of thing that it's talking about. And it's also often in circumstances where it's talking about mocking other people.
So then why'd they call it loud laughter at the beginning? Why don't they call it just cruelty? If we're saying loud laughter really means just really dark mockery, or going too far when you shouldn't and abusing the power you have in a situation to really hurt somebody, why don't we call it abuse? Why do we call it loud laughter?
Because we use weird terms in our church for everything.
Yeah.
What,
We
really?
just do.
That's true.
When Elder Cook called non-consensual immorality. That is one way to phrase it. But
What?
Remember that? Yeah.
When did he say
Oh
that?
my gosh!
You
What?
guys remember in a conference 4 years ago? Non-consensual immorality. That.
That
And
is- yeah.
Technically, but it's we just say weird stuff in our church. That's just how we don't even name our kids normal. Hey,
Yeah.
Miley, here's McKiley. We don't do normal things in our church.
And on top of that, it's a
That's
scriptural.
Utahns. I know plenty of normal people out here in LA.
Yeah, but half the apostles are from like San Pete County, so you know what I mean.
Okay.
But
That's fair.
I will say this though. That means there's a couple people in Scripture who are actually guilty of loud laughter. One, Elijah, when he told the priest of Baal, he was like, "Huh, is your God out in the woods taking a shiz?" Remember that?
Yep.
Oh, shut up. He did that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he straight up said that. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Wait.
It's awesome.
Elijah was a savage.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he burned them all.
Yeah, it's great.
Whoa.
When Paul tells the Jews when they're like, "Circumcision's necessary," and he's like, "I would that ye should cut it all off."
Oh,
He says,
what?
tells them to chop off their.
What?
Yeah, remember that? Yeah, Paul tells the Jews, he's like, "You know what? You think it's gonna save you? Cut it off. Cut the whole thing off." And then third, we went did a whole episode on this when Jesus is like, "Oh, if he wants to take your cloak, give him your coat as well." Basically saying, "Hey, if they want to steal from you, just be naked."
Yeah, just be totally nude. And
So, I mean,
expose
we got Paul, Elijah, and Jesus, who are all guilty of loud laughter there.
As
No.
some in the church nowadays would misconstrue
Yes,
it.
yes,
Because
exactly.
there are people who, like, in their pharisaical way, end up building a hedge around the law where they're like, well, if loud laughter is bad, then maybe any laughter should be gotten rid of, you know? Like the same attitude that says, like, hey, if you're supposed to just have one pair of earrings, maybe you're more righteous if you don't have any. That is not the way
Right.
that we should be approaching the gospel, you know?
It's like Jehovah's Witness
yeah.
territory.
Yeah, but low key, they're kind of right.
What?
Let's be honest. If we're not right, it's probably them.
Wait, what?
They're number 2 for you.
Of Christianity, they're definitely number
Oh,
two.
that's another episode.
Wait,
Jay-
no way.
If we're not right, who is?
They don't
J-dubs are
celebrate
way.
No,
anything.
Catholics. It's
Ain't-
got to be the
Oh,
Catholics.
yeah, that church. Yeah, that kid did.
Guys,
church.
guys,
no,
guys,
I'm
guys.
talking about
Man, you are the weirdest guy I know.
the J-dubs
dude.
are like basically right about almost everything.
What about the Amish?
Except for nothing.
No, Carden. They're very, very close. In fact, they're like their aim is for basically terrestrial kingdom, and they're gonna get there. Like that's the way that.
What?
It goes
Not
Mormons.
talking to your family if they're excommunicated is so brutal, anti-family, and cruel. No way. Just no way.
All I'm saying is they don't have windows on their kingdom halls, so they can't see the sinners burning at the last day.
Yeah,
And
oh.
anybody who puts in that amount of architectural
Man, sometimes I
intelligence
don't
into
know-
their buildings is kind of right.
Sometimes I don't know whether to take you seriously.
That's
or not,
the
man,
point.
You know.
Okay, Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventists, Christian Science, Greek Orthodox.
You gotta throw the
See,
Amish in there.
No. Mine number 1
Yeah.
is Mormons. Number 2 for me is Greek Orthodox. Greek Orthodox.
No, they all
freaking
watch
six.
anime and have ugly beards.
So, if that's all they're doing wrong,
No,
they're
dude,
freaking sick, dude.
The Ortho Bros are weirdly into anime, and it creeps me out. And
Really?
nobody who watches anime that much, I'm gonna trust.
I don't know a single
Look at the
Orthodox.
Greek
person
Wait,
Orthodox
is
who-
that a terminology? Ortho bros?
Yeah, the Ortho Bros on Twitter, they're all into like their anime stuff, and they're like, yeah, it's like
Maybe that's just cool, you know?
Oh, I just know Orthodox people in real life.
burning their
and they're-
incense
they're
like a
great.
bunch of witches. I'm just not into it, dude. I don't care. They're Hagrid looking,
Jeez.
Harry Potter.
Dude,
looking.
no, but they at least get the becoming like God.
Looking like Dumbledore Hogwarts looking priest, dude. I don't need any of that
Oh,
in my
God.
Or
life.
maybe that's cool. It's like Rasputin, you know what I'm
But-
saying?
Yeah.
The witch who they tried to kill 3 times, great model. I like Jesus instead, so it goes us, then J-dubs.
Dude, dog.
And if
man.
Christianity's not true, I'm going full on Elizabeth Clare Prophet Ascended Master.
Okay, if we're talking churches that are outside of Christianity, my number 1 is Mormonism. Number 2 for me is probably Sikhs. I think
Ooh.
Sikhism is like pretty freaking close.
Or actually, even Zoroastrianism.
Zoroastrianism too,
Except
is-
for the whole burning their bodies on the top of cliffs.
well, you know they only do
Wait,
that
what?
because they don't have enough vultures
I have no idea what's
to
going
eat
on.
their bodies anymore.
The sentence, but this, you know, I know that because so they would in Zoroastrianism when you die you leave your body out and the vultures come and eat it.
Shut up, really?
Yeah, but if there's not enough vultures, then you just got to burn them, and so they get kicked out of cities because they'll be like, "Oh, Jabibalop died tonight. I guess we'll have to burn his body on top of this park." And the walker buyers are like, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh!" But it's what they've done for a long
Wait,
time.
what
It's-
country is this? Is this everywhere?
Iran. But like they,
Yeah, I ran when I saw them doing what they were doing.
there it is. So Zoroastrians, when they die, they have very specific rituals around how they handle their dead, right?
Okay.
And so when they are taking their dead, they like aren't allowed to really touch them because there's death is demonic to them. And so like they in their death is a last act of giving like a charity to the animals and to the earth by letting their body be eaten by the birds.
Well, that's okay. It's kind of cool,
and it's
actually.
like this last goodwill thing that they can do, this final good deed they can do
Mhm.
to help them go towards the light in the end when they're on
Also-
the bridge.
I like him because
Okay.
how many
Afterward.
wars have Zoroastrians started? Like none. That's
Yeah,
why it's
None
like,
we remember.
That's true. There were, like half of history is wiped out. Look at the Phantom Time hypothesis. But Brittany, I have
Oh,
something.
yeah.
This I think you'll enjoy. Yeah, the Phantom Time. Oh yeah, they made up a bunch of years. Christopher Columbus probably didn't exist. Anyway,
What?
so I want.
That one's wild.
Whoa.
That
Yeah.
one's really wild.
Probably was
Wait,
It's the
Christopher-
Tartarians and crap.
Yeah, they're trying to hide the history of Hyperborea from us. Anyway,
Okay.
so I think it's interesting though on this subject,
It's even weirder than Hollow Earth, man.
on this subject of loud laughter.
Yeah.
Have we've been committing loud laughter in this episode?
I was about
While
to say, we're
joking
the-
about what religion is true. You could actually have fun talking about spirituality, but we've been conned because of corporatist religion into
Yeah.
thinking that you have to just be dry and boring and cold.
And it's leftovers of Puritanism, I think.
Yeah.
Because that's the same Puritanism that was like, hey, dancing is bad.
Mhm.
Hey, guess what? Any kind of levity is bad. No, there are kinds of levity that are good, but it can be hard to keep track of which is good and which isn't.
Well, and I think it's an internal thing. Just like sometimes the word of wisdom is a little bit internal because everybody's different. You know, a dietary condition that works for one person may not work for another. And only you really know when you're committing the sin of gluttony or not. You know?
Like every time you're at Tucanos and you're like, I think I just broke the word of wisdom.
Yeah. That could be. For you,
Who
for
needs
me.
17 servings of meat?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You don't need half the cow.
Yeah, I would
But,
never
um,
do that.
Wait, go
Never
back. Quaku,
at
what
all.
did you want to say?
Um,
You left me hanging.
and I said, yeah, so, well, it was sort of getting out into when we were talking about what religion is true and what religion isn't true. But, and listing them, I do obviously venture into some of the esoteric New Age stuff. I think is very, very interesting. And sometimes I wonder if the rigid approach to religion, where we have to be super, super formal, is a manipulation tactic to get us to not embrace deep inner spirituality which exists in all of us, which is why people find themselves going, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual, because they're trying to connect to the innate divine nature within them that's been foisted away from them by the overlords in the cloth.
Or maybe they're there.
I do
think,
like that.
Okay, I
Mm.
think some of that's true, but also I got to tell you, I've met far less people that are deeply committed to their own spirituality and are simply just trying to strengthen their spirituality by eschewing organization. The vast majority of people that say that, oh, I'm spiritual, not religious, it's a crappy excuse. Just
yeah,
for
no,
not-
I agree. I
That's
agree.
that's fair, but I do believe that it is the way of joy that we're learning. One of my favorite paintings of Jesus
Yeah.
is a painting of him and John the Baptist just eating crickets together. I'm sorry, but just
I will not eat the bugs.
it's of him and John the Baptist. They're sitting next to a river and they're laughing together. It's called The Way of Joy.
Okay.
And it is
Aw.
awesome to me because I think we forget Jesus laughed in his life and he lived and he loved. No, but
Yeah.
That's why I like The Chosen.
Yeah.
If you guys have seen that, because it portrays him as a normal guy
Mhm.
that went to parties, hung out, had dinner,
Yeah.
laughed, danced. Like, I don't know, I like that.
And that's the thing. The gospel, I think, is there to teach us the way of true joy. It's there, like the commandments are there to help us find the things that are going to help us be the happiest. They're not there to restrict us from doing things.
Oh,
They're
phew.
there to help us avoid things that will actually make us sad, you know, in the long run. That's why God gives us these commandments.
It sounds kind of weird. I don't want a Jesus that's just like I don't like the whole like
Somber Jesus, boring Jesus.
no. I don't.
okay.
Okay, so I was in church 3 weeks ago,
Mhm.
and though I heard it was the worst talk I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh, no.
Worst
God.
talk I've ever heard in my life. 3 weeks ago at church. This girl from it was Mesa or Gilbert, one of those horrible little cities. Was I hate
Way to condemn the
I
entire...
hate Arizona. If you're from
We're
Arizona,
talking
I don't
about
like
not
you.
being inappropriate and disrespectful
Except
in our
for
humor.
Jacob Hansen, everyone from Arizona. And Florida sucks too, because Florida's just the Arizona of
What
the
about
East.
Dan?
My family's in Florida. What's wrong
Florida is the Arizona of the East. I hate it. Anyway, she's talking about I'm not kidding. I'm not hamming this up. She said these things. First, she said, Jesus is like the dopest dude ever.
Oh, that's
Okay.
all.
No.
She said, I feel him next to me in the driver's seat on the way to work, and I dap him up.
Dap him up.
I don't
What's
even know what
that?
That means a
means-
high five, guys.
It's like the dap thing. It's like you do like
Adapt.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's the
rock on.
stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I
But
know.
okay.
She
Okay.
also started talking about how she was like a gym bra girl. She's like, I'm like a quad strong girl. Like she kept talking
Okay.
about her quads and
Okay.
talking about Christ. And she kept saying he's
So
the
how long
dopest
was the
dude
date
ever.
with this girl?
No, this was a talk she was giving in church.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I was like, what? And I was disgusted by her awful talk.
Oh my
I
gosh.
literally was like, I hate this talk so much
Uh-huh.
because this is what happens when you remove all the poetry, by the way, out of religion and scripture. You
uh-huh.
get like stupid, vapid. I dap up Jesus because he's dope. Like, ugh. So we went
It's
from
the next Isaiah, man. That's
We-
exactly
so
what Isaiah
here
wrote. It's
you
just
we
are.
went
translated.
from declare, O muse, of mightier wing, of loftier lore than mine, why God is God and man may be both human and divine, to I dap Jesus up. I like the gym quad, like stupid stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but that's the other far example
Yeah.
of like that was more disrespectful to me than like most jokes I hear on Family Guy,
Uh-huh.
you know, because it's like this woman literally doesn't even have can't even convey the beauty that is painstakingly put in scripture.
She may just be aggressively inarticulate.
You
Or
know,
really
that's a,
socially awkward.
that's a
No,
much
no.
more charitable answer.
No, if you're from Mesa, Arizona, a big Mormon hub, I'm sorry you
No.
don't have an excuse.
No, but I
You do
think
not
this
have.
is...
That's
well,
like I don't
this is-
know
there's no
Latin. Well,
socially
you
awkward
live in
people.
Vatican City. You should know some Latin. I don't believe. Sorry, you don't get the excuse, bruh.
No.
Arizona girl with your big quads.
Oh my gosh. No, I see this as the kind of thing where I don't know. I think it's between her and God how they talk to each other, you know? And it's dangerous for us to get into the position of us becoming the person being like, no, the way you talk about your relationship with God is wrong, you know? And I don't think that that's where we should be. I think it's okay for us to...
What if it is though? What if we should be there? Because I mean, I don't. And look, the way I imagine Christ is also different. I imagine him as like a military general.
Yeah?
So
Ooh,
I don't
so you're
really-
like very like
yeah, I'm not into the whole like.
Maccabean about it. You're like Andrew the Zealot.
Yeah,
you
I'm
know?
not into the whole like here's a painting of Jesus smiling, like holding a little girl, like I love him, he's so sweet. No,
all wafy and pale. You're just
No,
like
mine is
a
like
tanned warrior. Looks like
serious
Carden.
Jesus, like I am the Lord, like that. And I don't imagine like everyone's like, when I get to heaven, I'm going to fall into his arms and I can give him a hug and I don't really imagine that. I legitimately think I'm gonna get like 15 seconds when I get to heaven and Jesus is gonna be like, job well done, shake my hand. Next. I think I'm not expecting a whole like big like I don't have a sappy thing with Jesus, so like, you know,
But maybe
and-
that's like what Brad's saying. Maybe he's different for everyone. So in heaven, maybe he'll be a general to you. Maybe he'll be
yeah.
really sweet to me. I don't know.
Yeah, and dude, like I'm hoping for more than 15 seconds, dude. You know.
But everyone thinks like it's just gonna be me and the Lord. He's busy. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna get all the time. Hate to break it to you.
Kwaku, time won't exist.
Ah.
Well, time doesn't exist now.
Yeah, but our
Time's
perception
never
of it's going to change enough that won't matter.
I think it will.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
I don't think in the way that you're illustrating it. But again,
Yes.
that is
So
maybe
let's-
impossible to illustrate.
Let's
so.
bring this back here. Let's
Yeah.
bring this back. What do I tell all these really uptight people in the comments about loud laughter now?
Just
like as
type,
it relates to our show.
this is what
say?
you do. Every time they say that, in all caps, you type, get thee hence Pharisee,
Oh.
with multiple exclamation points, and then in parentheses underneath, Kwaku will eat you.
And the
that-
bugs.
I'll eat my neighbors.
Not the bugs, but I'll eat
I'll
my
eat my
neighbors.
neighbors.
Okay, so avoid.
Basically, it's don't ridicule anyone. And
Wait,
who,
but we ridicule people on the show
and
all the
who
time.
wants to hear a dirty joke?
No.
So I think yeah. Well, I think maybe that's a good critique of us. Like if we're ridiculing people in a way that we're like no longer aware of their humanity and we don't really treat them
And
as
it's not to correct bad behavior.
yeah, we're not treating them like sons, like fellow children of God. We're probably doing something wrong.
Because John Cleese literally said that. This is the last thing I'll say before we finish here. But John Cleese, master of comedy, probably top 10 comedian in the world's history, right? Came out and he said something very interesting. He said, at its heart, humor is criticism. And he said, take the most benign joke you know, not specialized, the most generalized joke you know. And he literally told the most generalized joke you know. And he said, how do you make God laugh? And people are like, oh, what? How do you make God laugh? And he says, tell him your plans. And that inherently is a criticism of God himself. A criticism that he's always throwing a monkey wrench into whatever your plans are. So how do you make God laugh? Tell him your plans, right? So if we want to say that like loud laughter is mockery or ridicule, we couldn't even say the most benign unifying joke that all humanity can laugh at and look at because it's about God above us and his ability to mess with our plans. So, and maybe that's a good thing. It's not necessarily even saying that's a bad thing. But if we were literally to say that like, okay, some might say that's disrespect. Some might say that's inappropriate. So I don't know. I don't get this loud laughter thing other than I think it's being misused. And you say, get thee hence Pharisee, but I don't know how Pharisaical I can accuse these people of being.
Oh, I'm joking about the Pharisee thing, Cardin.
Oh, well,
obviously.
see, I wasn't, and I say it ferociously in the comments.
Hey,
but-
Jesus cleansed the temple. I say we can cleanse up the comment section. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Get in there with a
And
whip.
last thing I'll say
Flip the
is
table.
I honestly I think it comes down to its intent. It's the difference between
Yeah.
Mel Brooks and South Park, where
Yeah.
Mel Brooks used crude humor to make fun of the fact that the Germans were bad.
Yeah.
South Park did it to make fun of Jews.
Mm,
I don't know. I haven't seen the specific joke. I'd have to look at
Yeah.
it. I guess.
No,
But-
South Park's an evil show.
But I get what you're saying.
South Park's an evil
No,
show.
those two men are demented. They're possessed by demons. They're evil.
I wasn't
my
allowed
God.
to
no,
watch it.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone are evil people.
Oh, shoot.
100%.
Oh wow.
Interesting. That's
Have
a
you
bold
seen the Book
claim.
of Mormon musical? It is
No,
one of
I
the most
haven't yet.
disgusting things I've ever seen. Mormon aside, they don't make fun of, they don't take the negative position to make fun of how bad it is, to show the absurdity, how evil it is. They make fun of people suffering. Like, they make jokes about children starving in Africa to laugh at the children starving.
And
They are
that
evil people.
That is loud laughter, I think.
yeah.
That's
They
the
burn
kind
in
of thing
hell.
where you dehumanize when your laughter is dehumanizing people, when it's making them so they're no longer your brothers and sisters. Like that is the kind of thing that I think is wrong and bad. Oh man, I lost it.
Yeah, no, I think
It's
they're
all
evil.
good.
I don't care. What are they going to do about
Okay.
it? Make a
Oh
cartoon?
no. The intent that you have matters. I think the impact matters a little bit, but I think the intent of it matters more in comedy specifically. But yeah, I would say we can all loosen up a little bit though.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm down. This is Midnight Mormons. See you guys in the next program.